Hello friends, welcome to Maria Academy. Today we are going to discussing about the 10th Cbse Physics chapter, light reflection and refraction. Okay, so the term light, it is very common to you all because when we looking surrounding our world, we can see the different phenomena and different variety of colors and wonders of world. It's also because of the presence of light. Then how the light is helping to see our object? If we have an object, what will happen? When the sunlight will be incident and it reflected towards our eyes, so we can easily see any substance, right? Okay, so then also we studied that the reflection, what is meant by the reflection, that is it is also a common phenomena to see an object. Then how we can say the meaning of reflection, or how we can say the what is reflection? That is, consider that if we have a very smooth or clear surfaces, consider we have a very smooth surfaces. So we are always representing a light as a ray. We are always representing, if we considering light as, it is also be represented by a ray. So consider that if we have a ray of light incident on the surface, it is the surface must be smooth and clear surface. Okay, if a light ray will be incident on the surface, what will happen? Due to the surface smoothness or clear surface, what will happen? It will be reflected. It will be reflected. So consider that this is the AB. AB is the incident ray and BC is the, here BC will be the reflected ray. Okay, BC will be the reflected zone. Okay, so what will happening when a light incident on a smooth surface, it will be reflected. How we can say it's more example that just like a bouncing ball. What will happen in a bouncing ball? If a bouncing ball will be, if we throw on a wall, what will happen? It will be bounce back. Similarly, in a smooth surface, what will happen? When light incident, it will be rebounds back, that is we called reflection. Okay, so if we are drawing a perpendicular to the surface of the, if we are drawing a perpendicular, consider that if we are drawing a perpendicular to the surface of the mirror, we can say that if we are drawing a perpendicular to the surface of the mirror, we can call it as a normal. We can call it as a normal. Okay, then when we seeing the more about the reflection, we have different laws related to the reflection. That is, we also studied in a small classes that there are many laws we studied in the classes. How we can recall them? That is, firstly we are saying that if we are considering this is our incident ray and this is our normal, the angle between the incident ray and the normally we called it as the incident angle. This angle I will be here, I will be the incident angle. I will be the incident angle. And when there is the angle between the reflected ray, it is P, reflected ray, and the normal, it is called reflected angle. It is we called reflected angle. So when we considering the incident and reflecting angle, what will happen? This incident angle and reflected angle will be equal. That is the first law of reflection. Okay, when we saying the first law of reflection is incident angle and the reflected angle will be equal. Okay, and the second one is when we considering the three rays, that is when we considering the rays, that is AB our incident ray, BC our reflected ray, and normal. This is our normal, that is we drawn perpendicular to the plane. What will happen? This three rays will be always lies in the same plane. Okay, consider that if this is a plane, what will happen? This three rays always considered in a same plane. So we can call it as incident ray, normal and mirror to the point of incidence. We can say that all lies in the same plane. Okay. So next we are discussing about the image formed by the plane mirror. Firstly, when we saying about the reflection, we can know that first we are discussing about the plane mirror. Okay, how the image will be formed in plane mirror? That is when we just looking in our normal face mirror. That is looking our when we looking to makeup or when we dress up in a mirror, we can say that the image in the plane mirror is virtual and error. It will be virtual and error. Also, the image size will be equal to the object. If this is the image size, what will happen? If we saying in a if you showing it in a normal plane mirror, what will happen? The image height or size will be same. Also, we know that if consider that if here is our mirror and here is our object. Consider this is our object and this is our mirror. So consider if the distance from mirror and the object is same as the distance from the mirror and the image. That is both the distance and the between the mirror and object will be same. That is we can say that image formed far behind the mirror of the image. That is image is all in a plane mirror, always image is formed in a far behind. So when we look into the mirror, we can say that it is far behind the mirror. Also image is laterally inverted. That is our left side will be in mirror, it will be right side. That is it's we can clearly see that it is laterally inverted. Okay. So next we are going to discussing about the spherical mirrors. That is normally we lastly discussed about the plane mirror. Next we are going to discussing about the spherical mirror. So what is meant by spherical mirror? That is if the reflecting surface, that is if we are taking the reflecting surface as a inverted, curved inverted or outwarded, that type of reflecting surface is called spherical mirrors. That is if we are taking a spoon and looking into the spoon, we can say that the surface will be inverted. So we can say that if the surface of the reflection will be inverted, curved inverted or outwarded, we called it as the spherical mirrors. Okay, so if the mirror the surface will be inverted, that is when we saying that if the surface will be just like in the figure, if the reflecting surface will be inverted, we can say that it is a concave mirror. If the reflecting surface will be outwarded, just like this, it is will be outwarded, we can say that it is the we can say it is convex mirror. So we have two type of spherical mirrors, convex and concave. We can say that concave and we have convex mirror. Okay. Then next we are going to discussing about each part of the mirror. Okay, so to remember the concave and convex, just remember that the inverted one, that is inverted one will be concave. That is just like our cave. Cave will be always inverted. So just like our cave inverted, which means cave means concave. That's why you can remember that concave is always invert curved. Next we are going to discussing about that the center. That is we have, if consider this is our mirror, we are saying that the midpoint of the reflecting surface, the midpoint of the reflecting surface, we normally call it as pole. We normally call it as pole. And also consider that if our consider this is our mirror, what will happen? The mirror other surface, that is this mirror is also part of a sphere, right? The mirror is also part of a sphere, so that if the sphere, there is also center for the sphere, and if we cut it on the two pieces and one part will be become mirror. So the mirrors the spheres, that is the reflective surface of the part of a sphere, that can say that sphere has a center, and the point that the spherical mirror in the center of the sphere is called center of curvature. That is, we are considering that is our mirror has a center for sphere, and that sphere center is called the center of curvature of the sphere, and it is we represented by the letter C. Okay. Then the radius of the sphere, which reflecting surface of a spherical mirror, is a form of palm. It is called radius of curvature of mirror. Okay. Next, we are going to discussing that considering that there is a line passing through the center of curvature and pole. It is we call it as the principal axis. We call it as the principal axis. Then a number of rays parallel to the principal axis is always falling on the concave mirror, and if consider there is always a line falling on the mirror, what will happening if consider there is line falling on the mirror and it will be passes through, or it will be reflected through a point, or always the parallel lines incident on the mirror always reflected through a point. That point is called focus. That point we called it as focus. Clear? Okay. Then next we can move on that is next we can move on that the distance between the focus and this is our focus, and the pole, this distance is called focal length. It is represented by letter F. Okay. Then the diameter of the reflecting surface, or the reflecting surface from this point, that is marked as Mn, it is called the aperture of the reflecting surface. That is the aperture of the reflecting surfaces. Okay, aperture of the reflecting surface. Also, this is also part of a sphere. So this sphere has a sphere have a diameter, and that diameter is represented by r. That is, we called it as the radius of curvature. Okay, radius of curvature, and there is a relation between the radius of curvature and focal length. That is called it as r is equal to 2 times of focal length. That is, that r is the radius of curvature and 2f is the focal length. There is the relation that r is equal to 2f. Clear? So that's all about today. So for more of classes of tuitions, please message or call the number given in description. Thank you.